They told me, hand in your resignation or we'll fire you. After 22 years of loyalty. And in that moment, I chose resignation. I typed it myself. One sentence. 5 days later, their lawyer called. What exactly did you mean by effective upon full? And suddenly, everything changed. If you've ever felt betrayed after years of loyalty, hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video, comment below, and prepare for a story where quiet intelligence wins, and justice is served in the most satisfying way. Let's dive in. I'm Eleanor, and for 22 years, this company was my life. I wasn't just an employee, I was a cornerstone. From junior analyst to department lead, I had weathered corporate storms, covered for colleagues, trained new hires, and carried every major project to success. Every evaluation, every report, every milestone I was there. Every year, I gave my all, and every year, I thought loyalty counted for something. But one Thursday morning, my illusion of respect shattered. My manager, Robert, called me into his office. He looked unusually cold, his eyes scanning a document as if I were a mistake he had just discovered. Eleanor, he said, voice clipped, we need you to hand in your resignation, or unfortunately, we'll have to terminate your employment. I froze. My hands went numb. My throat tightened. For a moment, I thought this was a joke. 21 years, and this was how they thanked me. The sheer audacity made my blood boil. I could feel a pulse racing in my temples, my vision sharpening. Anger, disbelief, and betrayal, these emotions collided in a storm inside me. Are you serious? I asked, my voice steadier than I felt. Robert didn't flinch. I'm afraid we are. It's best for both parties, just write the resignation. It will be quicker this way. For a fleeting second, I imagined yelling, storming out, throwing papers across the office. But I realized something vital. They had given me an opening, an opportunity, and I wasn't going to waste it. I walked back to my office, sat down at my desk, and stared at the blank resignation template. My mind raced. I could type paragraphs of anger, or I could do something so precise, so controlled, that it would turn the power back on them. I typed a single sentence. I hereby resign. Effective upon full receipt of all accrued benefits and final compensation owed to me by the company. No flourish, no emotion, just precision. I saved it, printed it, and handed it to HR at the end of the day. For the next 5 days, I carried on with my usual tasks, but the office felt different. The air seemed tense. My colleagues whispered, casting sideways glances. I remained calm, outwardly polite, but inside, I was calculating. Every policy, every legal clause I'd ever learned or encountered, I revisited. I knew exactly what I had done. Phrased my resignation in a way that the company couldn't ignore. I had effectively put them on notice they owed me everything I had earned. And I wasn't just going to ask for it. I was going to ensure they understood that underestimating me had consequences. Then, on the 5th day, the call came. Eleanor, said a formal, clipped voice. This is the law firm representing your former employer. We need clarification. What exactly did you mean by effective upon full receipt? I smiled, though they couldn't see it. My pulse was calm now, my mind alert. I meant exactly what it says, I replied, measured. I will consider my resignation fully effective only when all owed compensation, benefits, and entitlements are paid in full. Anything less, and the resignation is void until the company fulfills its obligations. There was silence on the line. Then, a sharp intake of breath. You understand that this could involve legal disputes. The lawyer stammered. I do, I said, and I am fully prepared. That moment, just a pause on the other end, was pure triumph. For the first time in over 2 decades, the company's power over me had shifted. And it wasn't just about the money, it was about principle, about respect, about demonstrating that loyalty doesn't mean weakness, and that careful, calculated action can dismantle even the most arrogant of institutions. Over the next week, the company scrambled. HR ran simulations. Robert called meetings behind closed doors. I stayed calm, answering every email, providing every document they requested, but always precise, always courteous. I wasn't reacting emotionally. I was executing a strategy. Then came the subtle victories. First, I received every back payment, including accrued vacation, bonuses, and retirement contributions, all accounted for down to the last cent. Next, a formal apology was drafted, not public, but in writing. The letter carefully acknowledged procedural errors and my long-standing contribution to the company. And the sweetest part, watching Robert squirm, the same man who had looked at me with icy indifference now had to face the HR department, the finance team, and legal counsel explaining why the company's treatment of me had been a mistake. Every attempt he made to sidestep responsibility was carefully countered by documentation I had quietly compiled over the years. Every policy, every email, every signed acknowledgement worked in my favor. By the end of the month, I was no longer employed there, but I had won on my terms. They had tried to force me out like I was disposable. Instead, I walked away with full acknowledgement of my rights, full compensation, and a subtle but unmistakable lesson in respect. Reflecting on it now, I realize the beauty of that strategy. Revenge doesn't have to be dramatic or public. It doesn't require shouting, confrontation, or vindictiveness. It only requires patience, intelligence, and the courage to act decisively. My resignation letter wasn't just words, it was a weapon of precision, crafted to ensure that justice would be served without me stooping to the level of petty retaliation. I often think about Robert and the higher-ups, now more cautious, more aware. They had underestimated me, dismissed my contributions, and assumed compliance. But I had turned years of experience, knowledge, and patience into leverage. Every email I sent, every phone call I made in those days after handing in that single-sentence resignation reminded them who had real power. Even now, friends and former colleagues ask me how I handled it. My advice is simple: stay calm, know your rights, and never underestimate the power of carefully chosen words. Sometimes the quietest, simplest action can deliver the most profound justice. After 22 years, I could have left in bitterness, but instead, I left with control. Justice isn't always loud, it's often subtle, precise, and perfectly timed. And that's the most satisfying kind. If you enjoyed seeing patience, strategy, and intelligence win the day, like this video, subscribe and share it. Comment below. When have you turned the tables quietly but effectively? Let's celebrate smart victories and justice done right.